The ice storm had hit without warning, turning the research outpost on Kepler 442b into a frosted tomb. Marcus Chen huddled in his emergency shelter, a pressurized dome barely large enough for one person, watching his oxygen meter tick downward with each breath. The communication array was down. The main facility was 3 kilometers away across a landscape that could freeze exposed skin in 30 seconds. He was going to die here. The scratching at the shelter's airlock made him jump. Marcus stared at the external camera feed, his tired mind struggling to process what he saw. A figure, humanoid but distinctly not human, clawed weakly at the entrance. Pale blue skin, elongated limbs, and those eyes, massive, dark, and filled with desperation. A Viridian. One of the indigenous species humanity had been strictly forbidden from approaching under the non-interference protocol. Marcus's hand hovered over the airlock controls. Opening that door meant violations, inquiries, possibly prison. But those eyes. He opened the door. The alien girl collapsed into the shelter the moment the inner seal released, bringing a blast of -60-degree air with her. Marcus slammed the controls, cycling the lock shut. She lay on the floor, her breath coming in rapid, shallow gasps, her body trembling violently. Hey, you're safe now," Marcus said, knowing she couldn't understand him. He grabbed his thermal blanket and draped it over her shaking form. Her skin was like ice. The Viridians were supposed to be cold-adapted. Their biology thrived in sub-zero temperatures. So why was she freezing? Marcus pulled up his tablet, accessing the xenobiology files he probably shouldn't have copied from the main database. There, Viridian physiology. His eyes widened as he read. Cold-adapted, yes, but their metabolic processes required periodic thermal cycling. They needed warmth in regular intervals, or their cellular structure would begin to crystallize. Without proper shelter or access to their traditional geothermal vents, she would literally freeze from the inside out. Okay, Marcus muttered, cranking up the shelter's heater to maximum. The temperature began to climb, but not fast enough. The alien girl's trembling was getting worse, her breathing more erratic. He had maybe minutes. Marcus did the only thing he could think of. He stripped off his jacket and thermal shirt, then carefully positioned himself beside her, wrapping his arms around her frigid body. The cold bit into his skin like knives, but he held on. Come on, he whispered. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then gradually he felt her trembling begin to ease. Her breathing steadied. The deadly cold radiating from her body started to fade as the shelter's warmth and his own body heat worked together. But something else was happening too. A tingling sensation spread across Marcus's skin where it touched hers. Not painful but strange, almost electric. The alien girl's eyes fluttered open and she looked directly at him. Those vast dark eyes seemed to see right through him. Then she began to glow. Soft bioluminescent patterns traced across her blue skin, flowing like living tattoos. They pulsed in time with her heartbeat, growing brighter with each passing second. Marcus tried to pull away, but her hand, stronger than he expected, caught his wrist. What's happening? He gasped. The pattern spread from her skin to his. The glowing symbols crawled across his arm, his chest, his face. It didn't hurt, but Marcus felt something fundamental shifting inside him. His perception expanded. The shelter walls became translucent in his vision. He could sense the storm outside, not just see or hear it, but feel it as a living thing. And he could feel her, not physically, but mentally. Emotions, thoughts, memories flooding into his consciousness. He understood now, this wasn't just warming up. This was Kethra, a Viridian survival bond. In their culture, when one was saved from the cold death, they formed a neurological link with their savior. A connection that would last a lifetime. She hadn't just wanted shelter. She had been dying. And in his act of humanity, of simple compassion, he had bound himself to her in a way his species had never imagined possible. Marcus saw flashes of her life. Her name was Selah. She had been caught in the storm while searching for her younger sibling who had wandered from their settlement. She had found him, pushed him toward safety, but the cold had taken her instead. She had stumbled for hours until she found the human shelter, and now, through their bond, Marcus could feel exactly where her sibling was. 300 meters northeast, hiding in a cave formation, scared but alive. We need to help him, Marcus said, and somehow he knew Selah understood him perfectly now. The bond translated not just words, but intent, meaning, emotion. She nodded, her strength returning as the warmth fully restored her biological functions. The bioluminescent patterns faded from Marcus's skin, but remained a soft glow beneath Sella's surface. They prepared to venture into the storm together, human and Viridian, bound by an act of kindness that had bridged two species in a way no protocol or policy ever could. Marcus checked his oxygen supply and pulled on his thermal gear. Sella watched him with those impossibly deep eyes, and through their bond, he felt her gratitude, her determination, and something else, a fierce protective instinct toward him. He had opened his door to save a life, thinking she just needed warmth. He had given her so much more than that, and in return, she had changed him forever. As they stepped into the airlock together, Marcus smiled despite everything. First contact protocols be damned. Sometimes humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology or its determination. It was simply the choice to help, even when it cost everything. Even when you had no idea what you were getting into, especially then.